Chihiro and Okarun, two of my favorite new gen shonen MCs that a couple of days ago were pitted against each other on Twitter to see who's stronger. Before we get into the scaling, I'd like to ask you to like and subscribe if you liked the video. Starting with Okarun, his powers are derived from a yokai named Turbo Granny, and from her name I'm pretty sure you can guess, Okarun's main stat is speed. It's stated multiple times that Turbo Granny and in turn Okarun has a max speed of 100 km per hour, which translates to about 62 miles per hour, putting him solidly in the superhuman speed tier. However, there are some caveats. Okarun can't keep this level of speed up at all times, as going all out will tire him out. Aside from simply running, Okarun does have other ways to increase his speed, such as his telephone wire transportation, allowing him to essentially ride the electrical signals and wires, and rocketing himself approximately 200,000 kilometers per second, or Mach 582,000, or 66% of the speed of light, making Okarun relativistic plus. Okarun's AP is a lot simpler to scale since he doesn't have a lot of crazy destructive feats to work with. It should at the very least be building level based on his fight with Evil Eye in chapter 61 where he literally destroyed a building. However, we can get Okarun's AP a lot higher with his wire transmission, since most of his attacks involve him throwing his weight at his opponent at full speed. Factoring in his wire speed and an estimation of his weight at 67 kilograms, he's generating 2 times 10 to the 18th power joules. To put that in perspective, that's a 1 followed by 18 zeros times 2. If you're not completely brain rotted from power scaling like me, that gets Okarun to mountain level with his wire transmission amped strikes. Chihiro's powers come from a similarly spiritual place, specifically spiritual energy, which is used to amp one's stats. But aside from his own spiritual energy, Chihiro's greatest weapon is his enchanted blade, Enten, which massively amps his spiritual energy, allowing for abilities Chihiro cannot use on his own, being Kuro, Nishiki, and Akka, which allow him to send out flying slashes, coat himself in spiritual energy to increase his stats, and absorb other attacks and send them back at his enemies in that order. Onto his actual scaling, going in reverse order from Okarun, Chihiro's AP isn't super difficult to scale either. In his first battle with Sojo, he cuts through an ice formation. The energy needed to cut through it has been calculated to 85 gigajoules, or city block level. For speed, Chihiro with Nishiki is able to somewhat keep pace with Sojo when he's using Cloud Gouger to amp his speed. Lightning travels at approximately 300,000 kilometers per second, making it 3,000 times faster than Okarun's base speed. And this is before Chihiro does his equivalent of going all out, which allows him to triple his speed and outpace Sojo. Now that the stats are on the table, I think it's pretty clear that Okarun just cannot compete with Chihiro base to base. But with wire transfer, Okarun becomes a completely different beast and would probably blitz and one-shot Chihiro before he even knows what's going on. The problem with this win con is that it's super situational. It also doesn't help that Chihiro has a ranged attack and Okarun doesn't, or that Chihiro's kit is much more lethal, or that in character, Chihiro would blitz and one-shot Okarun before he could do anything. Chihiro versus Okarun was a lot closer than I thought going into this, but at the end of the day, Chihiro still clears.